Okay.
Okay. So I have a couple things. I have an aha moment, which ties in with a book that I want to talk about too, called The Athena Doctrine. Have you read that book?
No, I can't wait to hear about it.
Okay. So I want to talk about this aha moment when talking to a potential new client about their sales team, and they don't have the right people in the right seat, about what I believe makes a successful salesperson. And I believe there's two parts to it. The first part is what will provide new customer acquisition. If I can get that out. It's all about the soft skills, right? Yep. I believe that the empathy and, to be able to be perceptive and articulate and communication, I believe that gets your sales team to acquire new customers. And then I think that the long-term success is all about grit. And so this book ties into the soft skills. That the Athena Doctrine is how women and the men who think like them will rule the future. And it was like lightning bolts that went off. This was a couple of years ago that I picked this up, but it really ties into what like Colleen Stanley and people are talking about the soft skills are doing in sales. So that's one thing. Those two kind of tie together. I think we can do that, like my contribution to a whole episode. And then the other thing, like in the next one, I'll talk about that in the next one too. Never mind.
Okay.
What do you want to talk about today?
Well, I have a book that I'd like to talk about too, although I read it on my Kindle, so I may have to jump over to a web picture of it. But it was Shonda Rhimes' Year of Yes. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I have. I haven't read it, but was it good?
It was good. I mean, it's not a business book, but I think that business people should read it for what it could provide. So, which would segue right into a dance it out moment, which I'm not planning on dancing, but I wanted to highlight, what are the songs that you put on your headphones or your stereo when you need to get going and you need to salespeople need to be self-motivated. So what are the things that you put on your stereo to sort of dance it out to get you going on your results? So I thought maybe we could do a book review, dance it out. I also, and I don't know if we want to do it for this segment or next, but I wanted to kind of introduce this idea of the Thomas Crowne affair, sort of tips and tricks of, what are the things that what are the things that you're spending your time on that Thomas Crowne would never allow himself to spend his time on? Because I think if we start behaving more like the really successful people that we admire, that actually gets us closer to our own goals. So those were the things that I wanted to cover.
Okay, I love that. I'm going to have you fully flesh out that the Thomas Crowne affair as a principle, because I know I've seen the movie, but it was so long ago. I don't know that I fully, embraced that as like a thing.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, do you remember, I mean, it was a long time ago, but do you remember Thomas Crowne and how he was richer than everybody? And
yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, good. We'll flesh it out.
Okay.
Good. Cool. So you want to start? Let's just start by catching up, right? Yeah. Anything exciting that you did this week, and then anything interesting or annoying that you saw online, and then we'll just kind of go into our segments that are directly about business and sales. I'd love to talk a little bit about, I was just in Arizona interviewing a whole bunch of subject matter experts. So your name came up. You were one of the top quotes for customer currency. So I wanted to kind of tell you what happened there. But let me grab a glass of water really quick. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay. In my irreverent sales girl mug.
Yeah.
Shameless plug. I'm sure we're going to have merchandise on this show soon.
Yes. Merch. It's all about the merch.
Plus, we need a logo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great. Cool.
So great all over this stuff. Like I'm not sinking. I wouldn't say sinking. I'm juggling really hard right now. All the work and the revenue, the promotional machine that, puts you out there, and then like Girl Scouts Navo, kids, volleyball starting. So like, I really appreciate all the work you've put into this. I'm juggling hard.
Let's do a little update. So I got to remove these things that make me look like a grandma back here. So let's take the let's take the little stand plates out. And I'm just not into like the problems that might cause.
Yeah.
All right. I like that a lot better.
That looks good. You're good.
Yeah, so people will appreciate the outtakes. And now you can see all the dog leash paraphernalia behind me. We have dogs.
Oh my gosh. We have 2 dogs, right? 2 fur babies?
We do. You'll probably see them.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do the welcome. Are you ready?
Yes. All right. Let's do it.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the SellOut show, where we are always sold out. I am Diana Guerin, the irreverent sales girl, and my mission is to bring a dash of dignity to the art of selling.
Love it. And I'm Shawn Karol Sandy, Chief Revenue Officer of the Selling Agency, where we coach humans how to sell to other humans, because selling like jackalopes is just not cool.
Jackalopes. All right, catch me up. What were the highlights of your week?
Well, I was in Baltimore last week with a client, and yeah, look, I'm from Michigan, but I've been in Memphis for 22 years. I've gone totally soft. It was so cold. Oh my God. It was like 34, 36 degrees, and I froze my butt off. So, but you know, the great thing when you go places, and you know, this is a great client, and really getting this division in Baltimore up and running, and the sales team up and running was just a fun thing to do. But they want to like treat you like, hey, you're coming to see us, come to the best restaurant. So I ate a lot of crab, and I just have 2 words, Crab Tots, which are
Crab Tots.
Yes, they were tater tots covered with a cream cheese, crab meat, cheddar, onion, bacon, sour cream concoction. And so I know that I tried not to bust the diet while I was there, but it was good. So yeah, I'm catching up this week from being out of town. So I was in Baltimore, and it was good.
Okay, what was your biggest business travel fail? What did your business travel unleash that was a problem for your personal life or your business life?
Well, it was not a huge problem, but I failed to check in early enough on Southwest. So yeah, I checked in the morning of my flight. My flight wasn't until
So you were like C-52 in the middle.
Oh yeah, I was like, oh, I better check my bag because I am not fitting it in above. So I don't fly on Southwest a ton, and I had just really forgotten that, you know, they do things a little different. However, on the flight going there, the flight attendants are so entertaining. I thought, you know what? I'll bet you they screen for really highly emotionally intelligent people to do this job, because it's not just the humor, it's the type of humor. It's to be able to be quick-witted and tie things into the situation that are relevant and in context, and to make light of things. So that got me thinking. That was interesting.
Yeah. Anything you want to share?
No, I just thought I need to figure out, there's a lot of different hiring tools out there, but I'm wondering if there's an assessment tool that can give you a benchmark for people's emotional intelligence, so that you know, in sales, being able to pivot, think quickly, relate to people, you know, mirror, reflect, and bounce back is so critical. I'm just wondering if there's something out there. I'd love to know how they hire at Southwest. Southwest, if you are listening, and would like to talk to us, that's a question I'd like to know the answer to. Mm-hmm.
I like it. Very good. And always remember to check in early.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
just kick down the $10 for the automatic check-in. Do you know?
Yep.
Cool.
What's up with you? Let's catch up with you.
All right. The coolest thing that happened was I got together with 7 of my favorite sales subject matter experts who serve as the board of directors for my company. We get together twice a year, and we got together in Scottsdale. But what was really fun is that we brought all sorts of video equipment. So we brought lighting, and we rented video equipment. So I got all these interviews on tape with the irreverent sales girl and subject matter experts about what they're good at. And we collected quotes. Our favorite business quotes, over the course of the weekend, and then we got them shared out with us. And one of them was a remembered quote from Boston from Shawn Sandy, the CEO of the selling agency. You probably say it better than I am, but it's all, know your customer currency, really understand how to speak your client's language.
Yes.
So we're going to have to do a whole topic on customer currency at some point, but it was super fun. And then the really fun thing was we were all sitting around a table at the very end, which you may not know this about videotaping, but you have to, if you're in a group with somebody and you're sort of at a table or, sitting next to each other, in order for you to look like you're actually an appropriate amount of space away from them, you have to be practically sitting on each other's laps, right? So here we are. We decided that we were going to do this fun panel, like The View, kind of. And each person had their Reverend Sales Girl mug in front of them. And it's hot. And we're all sitting like right on each other's laps, but having the time of our lives talking about the stupid things that people do in sales, or, just being kind of opinionated and loud and fast, like The View is. So that was really fun video to shoot, and I can't wait to share that. So that's what my week was. You were there with us. We missed you. We talked about you. all in good fun. All right. So what's on the docket today?
All right. Here's the rundown. I had kind of an aha moment when talking to someone about what I believe the future of successful salespeople looks like. And that's going to tie into a book that I want to discuss. They kind of go hand in hand together. So I don't want to give too much away, but I want to talk about that aha moment and the future of successful salespeople. So that's what I would like to share.
Okay. I've got a book review too, which will lead into a dance it out moment. So I'd love to talk about that. And then I thought I'd like to sort of introduce this segment that we can consider using the Thomas Crowne affair principle. So I'd like to introduce that concept and get your sense of your ideas about it.
Okay. Oh, excellent. All right. Well, that's the rundown. Let's start from the top then.
All right.
Okay. So I'll start with talking to a client who has a small sales team. And they're not getting the results that they want. And really and truthfully, I don't think they have a lot of the right people in the right seats. And then so we're talking about that and also wanting to add it. And so I shared with them what I believe is really the future of successful salespeople. I believe you can boil it down to two things, talking about assessing for hiring, Southwest. I think that the first key to success for salespeople is that new business acquisition means you've got to be emotionally intelligent. I think that you have to be able to be perceptive and use empathy and be able to be an articulate communicator in order to get new business. And that's really key. So that's the first half of it. And then the longevity of a sales career, I think, is really determined by someone's grit and their ability to persist through difficult things over a long period of time. I've talked about different book, but I've talked about this before. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see it at all?
It's a little glaring. Oh, there it is. Grit. Oh my God. What is that? That's so cool.
Yeah. Oh, it's just a screenshot from Amazon, but this is The Power of Passion and Perseverance, Angela Duckworth. And I've been listening to it via Audible. Such great insights and stuff. And so I would highly recommend you read that book, because if you are not gritty, it shows you ways that you can become gritty. And if you are looking to hire or looking for what makes someone successful, this gives you some keys and insight to that. It's also great for parenting and relationships and all sorts of stuff. But that's the second half of what I believe makes a great salesperson. The first half goes to something that I read a couple of years ago, and as I've gotten to know more of our sales pros like Colleen Stanley and her talking about emotional intelligence, I read this book a couple of years ago. Here it is. It's called The Athena Doctrine, and it's how women and the men who think like them will rule the future. It's not just a feminazi book, but to synopsisize, or to give a synopsis of this, synopsisize a word.
It is now.
Okay. Synopsisize.
Synopsisize.
The first part of the book is actually kind of hard to go through. It is, let's see if I can find it, lots of charts. It's written by essentially economists, research economists.
They said there would be no math.
They said there'd be, I mean, it's like, woo, lots of graphs and stuff.
Wow.
The first part is hard to get through, but what they did was they went around the world and they researched leadership in different countries, and they found that society as a whole is now really leaning towards characteristics that we have classically and historically quantified as feminine, and that's what we're looking for in leadership. So the antithesis is we do not want leaders who, well, the rest of the world doesn't. This kind of goes against the grain for where we are now, but people are leaning towards leaders globally who are collaborative and who have empathy and compassion and are able to communicate and articulate. And so the whole trend towards, people leading business and governments with these trends is what this is all about. So it's a fantastic read, and I really look at it, applying it to business and salespeople. So it shows they went to countries all over the world and looked at, by emphasizing cooperation, communication, and sharing, these pioneers succeed in a super connected world. This has rich implications for leadership, change management, and even career management. And so it's a lot of stories. So they take on, they talk about what happened after the great social economic collapse in Iceland and how they built things up, and how women driving leadership in the economy and government were incredibly successful. So it's not necessarily just a women story. It's about those qualities that were traditionally thought of as feminine. So that was my aha moment. What do you think about those two sides of the coin as sales success?
No, I absolutely think 100% right is that if you have emotional intelligence and you can connect with your buyer and get over in their shoes and speak their language and mirror their body language and, understand all of those aspects, that you absolutely win the sale every time. And I frankly think that's why I've done so well in sales, and I'm sure you have too, is because, first of all, it's more fun to talk to a girl, because we're more fun to talk to and look at. But I'm going to get just destroyed by the feminazis, right? Don't come after me. You don't know where I live. But, I just think that's a critical element of being, but then, there's that masculine sort of characteristic that I think is, now women are about as gritty as you get, down under, but I do think that it's considered probably more a masculine quality, and I think it's absolutely the key to longevity in a sales career. It's, you got to have grit to get through a sales cycle. You got to have grit to take the courage to get to the right person, to have those scary conversations, to fail 4 days in a row and pick yourself back up and go at it. Yeah. So no, I think that's great. But your aha moment was that there really are some feminine characteristics that lend themselves towards leadership. Is that right?
Right. Yeah. And that I think that understanding those soft skills is what leads most salespeople to success. And then,
so we talk a lot about leadership, right? Everybody says they're an expert in leadership. What do you think what does leadership actually mean?
Oh, okay. Well, I think that it's of course subjective. And I think that, not only is it subjective, but I think it's also depending on the situation that you're in. But at its core, I think leadership is inspiring others to do what they can do, or inspiring great things in other people. Leaders create other leaders is ideally what they do. I have a guy struggling with this, one of my clients. He's in charge of a group of 5 or 6, and he's like, I don't want to babysit people. I don't want to have to tell them what to do. And so his concept of being a manager was in one frame. And so I'm trying to get him to think of himself as a leader instead of a manager, which is an entirely different framework of how to get the results. It's to inspire people to do things for themselves, by themselves, bring out greatness in other people. That's my definition.
Very good. Do you think it can be taught?
Oh, I do. I think that it can be taught if someone is open to receiving that, kind of like anything. What do you think?
Yep. I think it can be taught. I think that most people just aren't willing to listen to anything. So I also think sales leadership is heavily missing because most people who find themselves in leadership roles in sales were the awesome salespeople, and then they have to figure out how to completely now probably this is going to change, since I think that team selling is becoming much more effective than it's ever been in the past. So we may actually start turning out sales leaders who know how to, deal with and inspire a team. But I think it's probably sadly missing. I just don't know that the people who say that they're qualified to teach it are actually qualified to teach it.
Right.
That's all I have to say about that. No, that's great. I can't wait to get my hands on that book. That looks exciting.
Yeah, like the cover just went, ooh, and the title was sort of like,
it's sexy.
It's sexy.
There's no question that's sexy. It's got the women, it's got the men, it's got the Roman goddesses. Yeah, it's that's good stuff.
Yeah, so that's a good one. Yep. All right. So switching gears, let's talk about the Thomas Crowne affair.
Oh no, let's do my book review.
Oh, your book review. Yeah.
Hang on one second. I've got it right. Where is it? Where's my, I want to share my screen. Hang on.
Down at the bottom.
Here we go. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out which screen to show. I hope that we edit all of this out.
I don't think so.
Can you see this at all?
Yes, I can.
The year of yes?
Uh-huh.
All right, so we talked about how painful it is that you can't really share a book anymore, like on the airplane with somebody because they're reading their Kindle, and it's extremely rude to look over somebody's shoulder and ask them what they're reading on their Kindle. So anyway, but I read it on my Kindle. It's The Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. You know who Shonda Rhimes is?
I do. She's really made TV kind of interesting again. I mean, her characters, her shows, I think are great.
Yeah. So she owned Thursday night. I don't know if she still does or not, but Grey's Anatomy and Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder. So anyway, this isn't really a business book, but she talks about this year where she decided that she was going to say yes to every single offer that came her way, especially the ones that scared her. And it's kind of like that Jim Carrey movie. Did you see that Jim Carrey movie? Yeah. I think she may have stolen it from there. She doesn't cop up to that. But anyway, it's hilarious. It's absolutely funny to read. I mean, she's actually sitting in the room talking to you and telling you to like stop judging her and get out of her business. And I'm like, what? I didn't say anything. So anyway, it's really fun to read. But the idea of, saying yes to things that scare you, I think is a really good idea. Saying yes to making that cold call that scares you, saying yes to going approaching that CEO at the conference that scares you. Those kinds of things I think really do forward our lives. And so I got a real kick out of it. I gave it a 4-star rating. She got lots of 5s. I don't think that it's the most brilliant thing that was ever written, but it was incredibly entertaining and an excellent read. And she's just extremely funny. So that's what I wanted to share.
What is it that you're going to do differently now that you've read this book?
Oh, I'm going to preach to other people to say yes to things that scare them, and then I'm going to stay in my comfort zone. No, I don't know. I mean, the way that she deals so authentically with some of the things that hold her back in her life, I think that it gives me some freedom to share with other people, I don't know if you have these or not, and I'm probably not really ready to talk about what they are right now, but I have 3 things that I've identified that I keep running up against. Like they seem like things that if I could get to my goals in these 3 areas, or if I could get these 3 areas handled, that and really catapult me to the next level in the life that I like. But it seems like I keep running into the same obstacles over and over again. And she was kind of doing that as well. And so one of the things that she said yes to was, being more vulnerable and sharing those things with her closest people. And it started to make a real difference. So the vulnerability is something that I got out of it that could make a big difference. But you probably see hurdles and obstacles in your life and just blow right through them.
No, not always. I wouldn't say that. It's interesting. I'm really going to have to do some introspection here about whether I come up against the same obstacles over and over again. Huh. I do know that I have developed a coping system for when I feel scared to do something. And I think that's really important. Your coping system is either you avoid those things, or you turn to like a vice or something else, or you go straight through them, and that's the way I do it. But my coping mechanism for doing that is to over prepare, blow people away. Like, okay, I'm really scared that they're going to think this is stupid, so I'm going to, double down and be the most amazing presenter trainer they've ever had. So whenever I feel like scared of something, I actually know that that's when I'm growing. Whenever I feel afraid or sort of scared, I know that I'm growing, and it's an opportunity to grow. And then my way of coping is to overcompensate and over prepare and just way over deliver.
Mine is just to drink a bottle of wine. So, prepare, booze, whatever. So, yeah. So the cool thing about Shonda Rhimes is, if you watch Grey's Anatomy at all, is the whole dance it out moment. So, which led me to think, I want to hear, what's the thing on your play? What's the song that you put on when you need to get motivated and you need to get yourself pulled up by your own bootstraps? What's your song?
It's The Heavy, How You Like Me Now. Have you heard that song?
I have. I love it.
It's just, that's just banging, and, it says it all. How you like me now. Whenever I feel like I need to, take my boots, pull them way up, and, put my hat on straight and, march into something, I usually listen to that.
That's badass. That gives you some swagger.
It does.
Yeah. Mine is, I think it's Carrie Ellis, her version of Defying Gravity from Wicked.
Oh, I don't know that song.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's so good. Anyway, yeah. So that's, you can't leave that song, especially her version, without being like, the, angels sing and you're ready to kick it. So cool.
I'm going to have to look it up.
I think we are ready for the Thomas Crowne Affair principle.
Let's do it. I'm ready to learn this.
Have you seen the movie?
It's been so long ago. I can honestly tell you don't really remember a lot about the movie.
Well, since you're a girl of the 90s, it was from the 90s. And
I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, it was a remake too of this really, really old one, but I recommend the Pierce Brosnan version with Renee Russo in her kind of see-through gown, which is worth the price of admission alone. But so Thomas Crowne is just this guy who is super duper successful. And in every negotiation, he holds all the cards, but it always surprises the people at the table that he holds all the cards. And, business has just become really a game to him because he always wins it, right? And the whole idea is, finding a woman that sort of unbuttons him and unravels him and all that good stuff. But I started thinking, would Thomas Crowne really deal with some of the things I deal with and some of the people I talk to and some of the conversations I have? I mean, and I'm not saying that you got to be out there only forwarding your own action all the time, but come on, sometimes you're either really not doing the work to be super prepared so that you're the person at the table who owns all the cards, which I think is a critically important thing. But the second thing is, are you spending your time on the things that are actually going to move your ship forward, right? So those are the two things that I was kind of thinking about. And especially as you were talking about sort of being really, really prepared when you go into a meeting, but more kind of like for the fun of winning.
Yeah.
And it can be, it can be really fun. So anyway, I don't know. I don't know if there's a Thomas Crowne Affair principle of although I do get a lot of requests for people to put time on my calendar. Mm-hmm. And I'm sort of like, I make my money by selling 25 hours a week. I mean, if I can, and that's a lot to have 25 hours of call blocks in your calendar. And there's a lot of people vying for, time, and can you put them at the beginning of your day or at the end of your day, or maybe they just don't fit, and maybe it's just time to tell them they don't fit. So I don't know. I don't know if it's something that we should even discuss, but I just thought
I absolutely get that. And I think the winning, like being prepared to win, it might look a little bit differently, but that's the way I feel. Like when I got an email from someone I met yesterday. He is someone who he complements what I do. He does more of the technical comp planning and that kind of stuff. And he had heard about me all over the place. He's like, we just need to meet. And so he sent me a fantastic email today, just talking about how impressed he was with me. I mean, like, that's like feeds me. Like, yeah, I want to be the one who impresses people. And I met him through someone who sent me something very similar, where he drives a group entrepreneur CEO mastermind, essentially. And he wanted his mastermind people to meet me. He hasn't asked me to join yet. I know he would love me to join. I don't have that in my bandwidth to join, but I want to be the person that they talk about. I want to be the person that they remember. And
yeah.
I know my stuff. That's why I do talk tracks. That's why I prepare. That's why I understand, the things I want to say inside out and forward, backwards. That's why I read and all that kind of stuff. So I know that what I say can have an impact, and I want people to remember me. So that I totally get that. That's winning for me. I get that.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's really what we wanted to cover today, but I think that, I don't know that we need to do a walk the talk kind of segment just yet, but I'm going to think next time about what's something gritty that I'm going to promise to do. So we'll bring that to the next segment. Like, what's something gritty or badass that we can bring that maybe is a little bit terrifying and scary, but that we're going to bring to our next conversation.
Oh, I like that. That's you're throwing down the gauntlet.
I'm throwing down the grit gauntlet. The grit gauntlet.
I like that. Okay. Well, I will think about that for our next time then. That sounds great.
And I will wrap us up by saying, stop hoping
and start selling.
Bye.
Bye. All right.
Okay.
So, do you want to do a quick change and then I'll...
Yep, let me do a quick change. I'll be right back.
End this one so it doesn't take forever to load, okay?
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
I'll send you a link back.